This thing is a beast when it comes to power output.
People love how reliable it is.
In emergency mode, you can get a full charge in just an hour.
Overall, the user reviews are overwhelmingly positive.
Welcome to the Review Room podcast. Tired of scrolling through endless reviews and watching video after video just to make a decision? We've got you covered. We dive deep into the web, pulling together the best insights and opinions and serve them up in a quick, entertaining chat. Sit back, relax, and let us do the research so you can shop smarter and with confidence. Hey everyone, welcome back. Seems like just about everybody is talking about this Jackery Explorer 1000 V2, so we're going to take a deep dive and see what it's all about. You guys have been asking tons of questions about it, and we've got some answers for you.
For sure.
We've been looking through a bunch of user reviews and spec sheets, even watching video demos. So is it worth all the hype? Let's find out.
Let's do it.
All right, so first things first, this Jackery 1000 V2, this thing is a beast when it comes to power output. We're talking 1,500 watts here.
That's enough to handle most home appliances, for sure.
Yeah, you're not kidding. We saw people in those videos running mini fridges, coffee makers, even some portable AC units.
Yep, one guy even had his whole Starlink setup running off of this thing while he was camping.
Wow. That's some serious off-grid luxury. No more lukewarm coffee on those camping trips, 1,500 watts. You can bring some of those home comforts with you wherever you go.
Pretty much. And it's not just about that raw power either. This thing also has a 1070 watt-hour capacity.
That's enough to charge a typical smartphone over 70 times.
Yeah, that's a lot of juice.
No kidding. And it's not just about how much power it holds. It's about how you can use it, right? This thing comes with a variety of outlets.
Oh, yeah.
3 AC, we've got USB-C, USB-A, even a DC car port.
You can charge up to 8 devices simultaneously.
Okay, so that's perfect for families, group camping trips. You can power up your laptop, your phone, and your buddy's drone all at the same time.
That's the dream.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. All right, so let's talk about charging. How do you juice up this portable powerhouse?
Well, you've got options, and that's always a good thing. If you need a super fast charge, you just plug it right into a wall outlet.
Yeah, and we saw that in emergency mode, you can get a full charge in just an hour.
That's right. Perfect for when, a storm's rolling in or something, you got to power up quick.
Absolutely. But what about those times when you're really trying to get off the grid?
Well, that's where the solar charging comes in. You can hook this thing up to compatible solar panels.
Okay. And that's great for camping, RV living, or even just, reducing your reliance on the grid at home.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the reviewers were testing that out with a couple of Jackery's 100-watt panels. And they were saying they were getting a full charge in about 5 to 6 hours of direct sunlight.
That's not bad at all. So even if you are totally off the grid, you can still keep your devices powered up with a little help from the sun.
You got it.
One thing that really stood out to me in the reviews was this Jackery app. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, you can monitor and control the Jackery remotely, which is super convenient. You can check the battery level charging status. You can even turn the outlets on and off from your phone.
Oh, wow. So you could be like inside your tent, all cozy in your sleeping bag, and still make sure your phone is charging without having to go outside and check.
Yep, and it also lets you customize the charging speed, and you can even activate this quiet mode.
What's quiet mode?
It just reduces the fan noise if you're charging overnight or, if you're in a noise-sensitive environment.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's kind of like having this mini smart home power system right in your hands.
Pretty much, yeah.
But what are people actually saying about this thing? Are they happy with it?
Overall, the user reviews are overwhelmingly positive. People love how reliable it is, and especially compared to a gas-powered generator, they say it's super quiet.
Yeah, that's a big plus. It sounds like the Jackery is winning hearts and minds out there. But let's talk a little bit about the user experience. One thing I'm always curious about with these power stations is the user interface. Is it easy to use? Is the screen, clear and informative?
Yeah, it seems pretty straightforward to use. From the videos and pictures we've seen, the screen is nice and bright, displays all the essential information you need: battery life, input, output, wattage, charging status.
You don't want to be squinting at some tiny screen in the dark trying to figure out how much juice you have left.
Exactly. And a lot of the reviewers were saying it was really intuitive and easy to navigate.
That's good to hear. Now, no product is perfect, right? So let's talk about some of the drawbacks. We saw some users mention that they wish it had more USB ports. Is that a major concern?
I think it just depends on your needs, really. If you're charging a bunch of phones, tablets, other USB-powered devices, yeah, you might feel a little limited.
So maybe a USB hub would be a worthwhile investment for those users.
Exactly. And a few people pointed out that the car charger output isn't ideal for all devices. Specifically, they mentioned ham radio equipment.
Okay, so kind of a niche concern, but something to keep in mind for those ham radio enthusiasts out there. Anything else that stood out to you in terms of drawbacks?
Most people said it was really quiet, but it is worth noting that the fans do kick on under heavier loads.
Right, so it's not completely silent, but still significantly quieter than a gas-powered generator?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Speaking of comparison, though, let's talk about how the Jackery stacks up against some of the competition. One that comes to mind is the EcoFlow Delta II, similar SIOP capacity, and also has some pretty compelling features.
Yeah, we actually came across one reviewer who did a head-to-head comparison to the two.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
cool.
what were some of their takeaways?
Well, they said both were excellent options, but ultimately they chose the Jackery.
Okay.
For a few reasons, it was a little bit lighter, had a slightly larger capacity, and they felt like it offered a bit more bang for your buck.
Yeah, price is always a factor, especially when you're investing in a high-quality power station like this. Did they mention any specific advantages of the EcoFlow?
Yeah, they did point out that it has a few more ports, including some 12-volt DC barrel plug ports, which could be useful for powering certain devices.
Like modems or something like that?
Exactly. So yeah, really it just comes down to your individual needs and priorities.
For sure. Now, another thing we need to consider is durability. How well does this thing hold up in real-world conditions?
Well, from the reviews we read, the build quality seems excellent. People describe it as robust, durable, well-constructed.
And we saw several reviewers who had been using theirs for a couple of years, and they hadn't had any issues at all.
Yeah, and one reviewer in California who had been through multiple power outages because of wildfire risk
Oh, wow.
really praised how reliable it was, said it gave them peace of mind during those stressful times.
Yeah, that's a testament to its quality and durability for sure. Now, let's talk about something that I found really interesting, the LiFePO4 battery technology. What is so special about this type of battery?
Well, they have some significant advantages over traditional lithium-ion batteries. For one thing, they offer a longer lifespan,
Okay.
meaning more charge cycles before the battery starts to degrade.
So in the long run, it's a more cost-effective choice.
Exactly. And they're also safer, lower risk of overheating or catching fire.
Okay, that's definitely a plus, especially if you're using it in a confined space like a tent or an RV.
Absolutely. And they're also more environmentally friendly because they contain less toxic materials than other battery types.
So it's a win-win situation. Better for your wallet, better for your safety, and better for the environment. Speaking of the environment, how green is the Jackery 1000 V2?
That's a great question, and it's something that a lot of people are thinking about these days.
Yeah.
One of the most significant environmental benefits is that it can replace gas-powered generators.
Yeah, those gas generators are not great. All that noise and fumes, not to mention the air pollution.
Exactly, and by harnessing the power of the sun with those solar panels, you can recharge the Jackery without relying on fossil fuels at all.
So you're not just powering your devices, you're doing it in a way that's more sustainable and environmentally friendly.
Precisely. Of course, it's important to acknowledge that no product is perfectly green. The production and disposal of batteries does have an environmental impact.
That's true, but it sounds like the Jackery is still a far more eco-conscious choice than a gas-guzzling generator.
Absolutely. And, as technology continues to evolve, we can expect to see even more sustainable options emerging in the future. Pretty much, yeah. Another standout feature is the battery saver mode. This limits the charge to 85% and prevents the battery from discharging below 15. It actually extends the lifespan of the battery significantly. By avoiding those extreme ends of the charge cycle, you're putting less stress on the battery, and that can lead to years of additional use.
That's pretty clever. It's like choosing to drive your car at a moderate speed instead of flooring it all the time. You might sacrifice a little bit of performance in the short term, but you're rewarded with greater longevity and reliability.
Exactly. And you can always deactivate battery saver mode if you need to access that full capacity. It's all about having options and choosing what works best for you. Yeah, one reviewer was talking about how they used their Jackery to power a mobile DJ setup for outdoor events. They said it was a game changer because they could set up anywhere without being tethered to an outlet.
That's awesome. I could see that being perfect for weddings, parties, even like busking on the street.
Absolutely. Another reviewer used theirs to power a portable projector for movie nights in their backyard, loved the convenience of not having to run extension cords, and said it created this really immersive cinematic experience.
That's a great idea. And I bet that quiet operation made it even more enjoyable. Nobody wants to be listening to a noisy generator during a movie.
Exactly. And a few people mentioned using it for work-related tasks as well, like powering tools on construction sites or charging laptops and cameras while on location for photo shoots.
It really is a versatile powerhouse, isn't it?
It is, and it seems like people are finding new and creative ways to use it all the time.
Okay, so we've established that this is a great option for camping emergencies and even some more unconventional uses. But let's get real for a second. Is it really green, or are we just kidding ourselves?
That's an excellent question, and it's one that a lot of people are asking these days as we become more aware of the environmental impact of our energy choices.
So let's get down to brass tacks. How environmentally friendly is this thing?
Well, it's definitely a step in the right direction. One of the biggest advantages of these portable power stations is that they can replace those gas-powered generators.
Yeah, which are terrible for the environment.
Exactly. All that noise, fumes, carbon emissions. And with the Jackery's solar charging capabilities, you can recharge it without relying on fossil fuels at all, further reducing your carbon footprint. However, it's important to acknowledge that no product is perfectly green. The production and disposal of those lithium-ion batteries does have an environmental impact.
That's true, but it sounds like it's still a more eco-friendly option than a lot of other power sources out there, especially those gas-powered generators.
I would agree with that. And it's important to remember that sustainability is a journey, not a destination. We're all constantly striving to make more environmentally responsible choices. And the Jackery 1000 V2 is definitely a step in the right direction.
Okay, so it's not perfect, but it's a good option for those who are looking for a more sustainable power source.
Exactly. And as technology continues to advance, we can expect to see even more eco-friendly options emerging in the future.
Let's say someone is convinced that this is the power station for them. What advice would you give them before they make their purchase?
That's a great question. Well, first, I'd say double-check the specs. Make sure it can handle the wattage requirements of the devices you plan to power. It has a 1,500-watt output and a 3,000-watt surge capacity, but it's always good to be sure.
Good point.
Second, think about how you plan to charge it. If you're primarily relying on solar, make sure you factor in the cost of those solar panels and any necessary cables or adapters.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Third, download the Jackery app and familiarize yourself with all the features. It's a great way to monitor and control the power station and can really enhance the user experience.
Good idea.
Fourth, read the user manual carefully, especially the sections on safety and battery care. This will help you get the most out of your Jackery and ensure that you use it safely and responsibly.
Safety first.
Always. And finally, don't be afraid to reach out to Jackery's customer service if you have any questions or concerns. They have a great reputation for being responsive and helpful, so you're in good hands.
Those are all great tips. I think our listeners are now well-equipped to make an informed decision about the Jackery Explorer 1000 V2.
I hope so. It's a fantastic piece of technology, and it really has the potential to empower people to live more independently and sustainably.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Jackery Explorer 1000 V2. We'll be back soon with another episode.
Until then, stay curious and keep exploring. If you're ready to make a purchase or just check current prices,
We've got you covered,
we've got some links in the description.
so be sure to check those out.
And while you're down there,
Yeah, don't forget to hit that subscribe button
and the notification bell,
so you don't miss any of our future deep dives.